Why, you're asking, are we in Ibiza in October? Why else? To launch the new SEAT Ibiza. It's been a long while coming, I hear some people saying. SEAT hasn't launched any new cars in a while, but it has finally told us what it's up to, and this is the first product of it. It is obviously an update of the existing Ibiza. It's still a 5-door, 5-seat hatchback as before, but we like how it's been modernised, been brought up to date, and looks a bit slicker. Up front is where most of the changes are. You see these new headlights, they're all LED, and they come with this really distinctive signature as well, an LED signature there, daytime running lights. The bumper itself is new as well. So this is the F4 model, so it looks a little bit sportier than the style and the regular Ibiza, but it has got a bit of presence. I quite like the design of the bumper there. And in the middle is actually a new grille. As you can see, it's hexagonal, kind of. The mesh in the middle also is quite detailed, and it just makes the whole front of the car a little bit more modern. The overall shape is as before, and it just looks a bit smoother. This colour is new, incidentally, a new red. There are other new colours as well. New wheels on top of that, and a few bits and pieces elsewhere. The F4 model, you can see on the sides, has got a little new F4 badge here on the door, just to remind the owner every time they get in, I guess. And, well, what do you think? Does it look smoother and better than before? Is it worth an upgrade? Potentially. Let's have a look inside. Inside, the Ibiza is as before. It is a C-segment hatchback. You know, there is decent space for this segment, but obviously it's not going to be as big as a SEAT Leon or anything. What SEAT has done, however, is improve what it calls the perceived quality. So the bits and pieces you touch and feel, tactility, etc. One of the things here is a new steering wheel, for example, while this dashboard is actually soft to the touch, which is a weird thing to say, but it just gives that extra quality feel to the car. This F4 model comes with these new bucket seats, as SEAT calls them, and they are actually quite figure-hugging, and the upholstery looks good. It's all about this, again, perceived quality. Perhaps, you have to say, is that there to set SEAT apart from the influx of Chinese manufacturers coming in that maybe are cheaper. Regardless, it is as before, and what we do like about it is that it's still a bit analog. So you've got this handbrake still, which is almost alien to new car buyers these days. And something we really approve of is physical separate controls for the climate control, for the air conditioning, etc. Always like to see that. It does, of course, have a touchscreen. The software has been updated. And there's also a wireless charger here now with USB-C ports down here. So those are all very, very useful. And they're the kind of thing that buyers of a new car today in 2025 or 2026 rather, when this car comes in, that's what they expect. Even ambling around here on out of the car park on the road surface is really quite bad. The car feels of quite high quality. The damping is good. It just feels well put together. I guess it should be well practiced at putting it together at this stage. The car has been in production so long. But, you know, it's still good to feel that it does feel like a decent quality car. The car I'm in is the F4, as I showed you. And obviously that's just a trim level now. It doesn't necessarily mean anything in terms of engine or chassis or anything like that. But I am also in the top of the range version in terms of engine. So this has got a 1.5 litre turbocharged petrol engine. That's a TSI engine in SEAT speak. It's a 4-cylinder engine, and notably it feels quite different to the 3-cylinder engine, which is a 1 litre that most people will buy. We did drive that earlier on as well, so I can comment on that for sure, and how this drives in comparison. This is a bit quieter unless you put your foot down to accelerate, and then it's just as loud. And we're a bit disappointed perhaps with the performance in comparison to the 1 litre. Disappointed is, I'll qualify that word now actually, because I expected the 150 horsepower car to feel way faster than the other car. So the 1 litre TSI, that comes in 95 and 115 horsepower guises, and we drove the 115 horsepower one. And it feels just as perky as this 150 horsepower car, which is actually great news, of course, because most people will be buying the 1 litre. They're both smooth. Both engines are quite smooth. You can actually also buy an entry-level model with a 5-speed manual gearbox, would you believe? So that's a 1 litre petrol engine as well. And it might be a slight bit of confusion perhaps for people is that it's called MPI, so it's multi-point injection as opposed to TSI, which is a turbocharged engine. And that's direct injection actually. So they are quite different engines, even though they're both 3-cylinder and 1 litre capacity. So the entry-level one, as I said, is 80 horsepower, but it's not turbocharged, so it hasn't got as much get up and go as the turbocharged engine. And that 1 litre turbocharged engine has plenty of performance. It's 3 cylinders, got a bit of character as well. You can get a manual gearbox with that engine, but with the DSG automatic, which we've got here, it seems particularly well calibrated actually, and that's a decent combination. It works very well. I think that's the sweet spot of the range, so maybe go for that one with the F4 specification, which looks a bit better, and you know, it's the sportier one. It's the one that everybody wants to have. On the road, nothing has changed in the chassis, but it's a good reminder, I think, that the Ibiza is, you know, a polished car. It's decent to drive in all scenarios, to be honest. The suspension is mature. It's well damped. It just works well. You got that initial firmness when you're going over, say, a speed bump, but then if you actually happen to go over a speed bump a little bit too fast, you find that the damping just holds the car in one movement. And that's kind of a sign of a polished chassis. And it just works very well. It's a good balance of that suppleness with good body control and stability at higher speeds and through corners. And then it's quite comfortable at urban speeds as well. The F4 model we're driving here has a slightly larger alloy wheel, so it's lower profile tires. And sure, it probably detracts from the comfort very slightly, and you can probably hear a little bit more road noise from it in comparison to the smaller wheel, but there's not a huge amount in it, to be honest. And I think most people will be quite happy with the compromise for the look of the bigger wheel. Either way, it's a comfortable enough car to do longer distance in. In terms of fuel consumption, we averaged 7.1 litres per 100 kilometres in the 1 litre car earlier. This car isn't showing me it here now at the moment. To be honest though, it's not stressed at the lower output when you're just ambling around, so I would expect them to be very, very similar, despite the fact that this is a larger engine and more powerful. Interestingly, the DSG gearbox, I think, works better with the 1 litre engine than it does with the 1.5. But a good thing about the F4 is that you get these paddles behind the wheel, so you can change gear for yourself, as well as doing it down here, but the paddles kind of suit the character of the car, I think. And when you need to overtake, there's plenty of go there. It's not a heavy car, it's quite a nimble, light car, and it picks up speed quite well. I think the 1.5, it's probably the best for those that, you know, carry people all the time or do longer distances, because it just feels a bit more grown up, a bit more capable of doing those longer distances. But if you're not, if it's just a car for ambling around for day-to-day normal driving life, I think the 1 litre actually makes a lot of sense. As I said, the 1 litre TSI with a 115 horsepower engine preferably, and the DSG gearbox, that's the sweet spot in the range. Well, that's our first look at the updated SEAT Ibiza. They're not dramatic changes. It does look a bit cleaner, more modern. The upgrades, of course, are the new equipment and the extra bits and pieces inside. It looks better than ever for sure. It brings it back into buyers' consciousness, perhaps. And it looks like it'll still represent an affordable, small car with a bit more quality than before, a bit more perceived quality. I think that's an important word. Regardless, if you want to know more about it, make sure you pop along to our website. It's CompleteCar.ie, and there you'll find a full written review. As ever, the website is a great resource for those looking for their next new car.